Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Vertex Vision. We stand at a precipice, staring into the abyss of human ambition and the stark realities often veiled by polite society. Forget the sanitized academic discussions of power. What we are dissecting today is the raw, unflinching mechanics of influence, stripped bare for critical examination. The architect of these principles, Machiavelli, laid out not a moral blueprint, but a functional one for navigating a world that rewards not virtue, but strategic ruthlessness. My goal isn't to endorse, but to expose and analyze, to conduct a post-mortem on the very fabric of control. Consider first the most chilling truth, often dismissed as mere cynicism, the sovereign's isolation. To climb to the apex of power is to arrive at a freezing solitude. Many crave the control, the deference, the undeniable shift in gravity when they enter a room. Yet they simultaneously yearn for understanding, validation, and genuine connection. This, I contend, is the fundamental flaw in their ambition. True authority, Machiavelli understood, possesses no peers. The moment you master the art of manipulation, of engineering dependence, of purging the weak from your orbit, you transcend the common human experience. Your problems become incomprehensible to those you leave behind. Your fortress of power, while impenetrable, becomes a gilded cage. While critics might label this detachment as a fatal flaw in leadership, arguing it hinders empathy and genuine connection, I see it as an inevitable byproduct. A self-selecting process where the pursuit of ultimate control demands a sacrifice of communal warmth. The question is not whether you desire it, but whether you can stomach its cost. This isolation is often a direct consequence of understanding the asymmetry of need. The conventional wisdom that robust relationships are built on mutual affection is a dangerous fiction, a comforting lie designed to keep you complacent. Affection, in the unforgiving arena of power, is a volatile currency, easily devalued by self-interest. True control is not forged in love, but in a carefully constructed web of dependence. You do not ask for loyalty. You engineer an environment where the other party simply cannot function optimally without your presence. Be it a unique skill, access to vital networks, or even a specific grade of emotional validation no one else can provide, you must become the indispensable supplier. Now, some might argue this creates fragile, transactional bonds that will shatter under genuine crisis, lacking the resilience of mutual respect. But I propose that such relationships, while perhaps emotionally shallow, are incredibly robust against shifts in sentiment, precisely because they are based on calculated necessity, not fleeting feeling. To achieve this, one must become a psychological diagnostician, mastering the anatomy of the thumbscrew. Every individual, without exception, carries a hidden fracture, a childhood wound, a desperate insecurity, a secret vanity. The masses present carefully constructed avatars, expecting you to take them at face value, believing their confident postures or selfless facades. This, my friends, is why they remain pawns. People are not driven by logic, but by the relentless pursuit of compensation for an internal ache. The man who aggressively flaunts wealth isn't demonstrating power. He is screaming fundamental insignificance. The woman who constantly gossips about others' morality is often terrified of her own hidden shame. While this constant search for weakness might be decried as fostering paranoia and eroding trust, I maintain it is an essential survival mechanism. In a world where everyone, knowingly or not, seeks to exploit those vulnerabilities, the naive choose to ignore the machine, the astute learn its gears. When conflict inevitably arises, and it will, the typical emotional reaction argument, demand for apology, minor punishment, is a strategic blunder, an architectural flaw leading to total ruin. When someone betrays, disrespects, or attempts to seize what is yours, a partial wound does not teach a lesson. It merely cultivates a festering hatred. leaving the aggressor with resources, proximity, and motivation for revenge. The conventional wisdom of tit for tat in game theory may sound equitable, but it initiates an endless cycle. The predator only stops when the cost of engaging becomes catastrophic. This isn't about physical violence, but psychological and social annihilation of leverage. Remove their access, revoke their privileges, cut the financial, emotional, or social cord with such absolute finality that they are left stunned, without footing to strike back. Critics might call this overly aggressive, a disproportionate response that burns bridges irrevocably. But I ask, what value is a bridge that leads only to further assault? A half measure, in this context, is a full betrayal of self. Yet, outright aggression is not always the answer, especially when facing a direct challenge. Here we encounter the illusion of the glass jaw. Our biological instinct, fueled by ego, demands an immediate, forceful counterattack when our authority is questioned or our intelligence insulted. But this is precisely what the opponent desires. Immediate defense legitimizes their attack, exposing the thinness of your armor. The true master does not block the strike. They allow it to hit nothing, causing the aggressor to overextend and lose balance. Absorb. Agree with a fraction of their insult to disarm their momentum. You are absolutely right, you might calmly state. The risk is massive. Perhaps we should assign you to something safer. This redirects their kinetic energy into their own insecurity. You project an aura of untouchable superiority, making their aggression appear a desperate, childish tantrum. This tactic is often misinterpreted as passive, but it is in fact an active psychological weapon that wins without a single punch, leveraging the attacker's own momentum against them. This brings us to the doctrine of the beast, the imperative to be both lion and fox. Society prefers a static, easily categorized identity. He is the honest one. She is the sweet one. This predictability, however, is a death sentence in the theater of power. If your enemies know you always take the high road, they will build their strategy around your compliance. If they know you are prone to anger, they will provoke you into self-destruction. Machiavelli tore apart the concept of a static moral identity, arguing that a leader must be psychologically fluid. Be the fox to recognize the traps, cunning and deceptive. Be the lion to frighten off the wolves, striking with overwhelming force when needed. Relying on only one nature guarantees failure. This fluidity, while undeniably enabling strategic deception and direct confrontation, is often condemned as duplicitous. But the expert understands that moral rigidity is a luxury few can afford in the upper echelons of influence. Further still, one must master the economics of the slot machine. The nice guy, the reliable friend, are universally taken for granted. Hyper-availability, in the same way hyperinflation destroys currency value, annihilates the perceived value of your attention. You become a broken vending machine dispensing free soda. People expect it, then kick the glass when it's empty. To build lasting psychological grip, operate like a casino through intermittent reinforcement. Sometimes they win a little, sometimes they lose, and occasionally, randomly, they hit the jackpot. This dopamine-driven unpredictability hijacks neurochemistry. Shower them with overwhelming validation one day, making them the center of your universe. Then, the next, pull back, be distant, preoccupied. Their brain will panic, working to regain that warmth, altering their behavior, lowering their demands. Critics will undoubtedly label this manipulative and emotionally exploitative, a form of psychological abuse. Yet, the reality remains that many relationships operate this way, whether consciously or not, and understanding its mechanics can be a powerful shield against being on the receiving end. Then there's the delicate dance of weaponized humility. Ego is a great destroyer, not just your own, but your inability to manage the ego of those above you. Our culture demands we shine, showcase brilliance. Yet, in new environments or mentorships, immediately trying to impress the person in charge, offering better ideas, working faster, displaying wit, often leads to being sidelined. You violated the first law of power: never outshine the master. Those in authority are often plagued by insecurity. Your superior intellect or charm triggers their survival instinct, making you a threat to be neutralized. To gather power, you must master looking smaller than you are. Frame groundbreaking ideas as extensions of the master's thoughts. Feed their vanity. While they gorge on applause, you quietly gain access, build alliances, secure resources. Fools fight for credit, strategists fight for leverage. The long-term criticism here is that constant self-diminishment can stifle innovation and prevent one from fully realizing their potential. However, the expert knows when to bloom and when to lie follow, strategically. Finally, we arrive at the uncomfortable truth of the quarantine of emotional parasite. There is a twisted romanticism attached to loyalty, leading many to drag dead weight through life, the friend with perpetual self-inflicted crises, the relative refusing to work, the perpetually miserable. Machiavelli had zero tolerance for the unlucky and chronically incompetent. Misery, he understood, is highly contagious. These people are not victims of circumstance, but architects of their own destruction, lacking judgment, discipline, and emotional control. They survive by siphoning power from anyone empathetic enough to listen. You call it being a good friend. A strategist calls it every minute absorbing their toxic complaints is a minute stolen from your own empire. Their pessimism will bleed into your ambition. Their fear will infect your risk tolerance. You cannot save those who do not wish to be saved. If a drowning man is panicking, he will push you under to catch his breath. You must develop the capacity to recognize terminal disease to your own potential and silently walk away. No explanations, no negotiations with parasites. Increase the distance. Become too busy. Let the cold reality of your absence force them to confront their own chaos. This, above all, sounds cruel, but the world is built on cruelty. The choice is whether you wield the knife or bleed out on the altar of someone else's incompetence. And lastly, to protect the gains from the above principles, we embrace the executioner's proxy. You want to lead, to hold power, but you are terrified of being hated. You want to make hard decisions, fire the incompetent, cut off the toxic, yet desperately want everyone to view you as the hero. This contradiction will tear you apart. You cannot wear the crown with perfectly clean hands. Machiavelli's solution was the delegation of cruelty. When an unpopular policy must be enforced, let the system, the contract, or a third party be the bad guy. I'd love to give you the loan, but my advisor forbids it. I want to keep you, but budget cuts are mandated. You preserve your aura of benevolence while the necessary destruction occurs. Let someone else wield the axe. You step in afterward with condolences. Is it deceptive? Absolutely. But ask yourself, honest casualty or calculating survivor? These aren't mere, they are the hidden physics of human interaction, operating right now, in every office, every home, every decision. The veil has been lifted. You now know exactly how the strings are pulled. The only remaining question is your choice.